So you see him walking to the podium. Let's see if
More
he.
like waddling.
Yeah. Let's see if he takes his mask off and if he fucks up again.
Please sit down. Thank you. Thank you. We will, by my 100th day in office, have administered 200 million shots in people's arms. That's right, 200 million shots in 100 days.
Would you like to do the math there?
So 200 shots in
200.
100
No,
million
no, no, no,
days.
no.
200
Wait,
million, 100
wait,
shots.
wait.
500,000 arms and 2.4 billion
This all sounds wrong.
doses.
This all sounds so wrong.
Well, everything he says is wrong.
Okay, so let's actually do the math here. 200 million shots in 100 days. That's 1 million shots per day. Divided amongst the 50 states. That's 2 million shots in each state. Does that sound about right?
No, I think you messed the math up in the beginning. 200 million shots in 100 days. That's 2 million a day.
That's what I said.
You said 1 million a day.
I said 2 million a day. We're recording this. We can go back.
You go back. You're wrong.
But I swear that if we go back, I said
Okay,
2
so
million.
what's the overall math? What's the math?
So 2
going
million
on here?
shots per state per
Gotcha.
day. So we're actually gonna coordinate with our fact checkers to see if this statistic is correct. 200 million shots in Joe Biden's first 100 days in office. This press release was on March 25th, 2021.
I know it's ambitious, twice our original goal, but no other country in the world has even come close.
You've said over and over again that immigrants shouldn't come to this country right now. This isn't the time to come. That message is not being received. Instead, the perception of you that got you elected as a moral, decent man is the reason why a lot of...
Okay, so this is a black female journalist. She seems pretty liberal, the way she's talking about how he's a moral and decent man. Does she know about his involvement with major leaders of the KKK, or how he's the main proponent for mass incarcerate?
Crime bill.
Yeah, the crime bill. Proponent for mass incarcerate.
Crime bill.
Yeah, the crime bill. It's like 1900 something crime bill.
I don't know how much she actually knows about his past, but why does every liberal have a receding hairline? why does every random liberal have a receding hairline like Lori Lightfoot of Chicago? Like they all. It must be the stress of racism and the stress of oppression and slavery, modern day slavery.
Modern day slavery implemented by Joe Biden.
Implemented by Joe Biden.
He's the one who signed the bill.
It must be the way to lose hair quicker.
Yeah, they're stressed out about a problem which doesn't even exist.
Received. Instead, the perception of you that got you elected as a moral, decent man is the reason why a lot of immigrants are coming to this country and entrusting you with unaccompanied minors.
Well, look, I guess I should be flattered. People are coming because I'm the nice guy. That's the reason why it's happening.
So she asks a legitimate question, and I don't even understand what this whole thing is about unaccompanied minors. If you're a minor and you're unaccompanied, it's not that hard to call, the Mexican Department of Homeland Security and just be like, yo, we have this minor who came across our border. We'll feed him. We'll send him back. Just make sure he doesn't come back to the States. I don't understand what's so hard. Why do we have to take in unaccompanied minors? Why do we have to feed them, let them live here? If they're unaccompanied, shouldn't we give them back to their parents back in Mexico?
Well, we understand that most of the time these minors are unaccompanied are because they're being dropped off by their parents. Their parent reaches over the wall, drops them over, and then runs back to their home in Mexico, trying to give their children a better life here in the United States because we are the land of the free.
But could you imagine that? Just just being a parent and saying, you know what, I care about my kid so much, I want him to have a much better life in this other country, so I'm just going to drop him off at the border and abandon him.
Maybe it's less of a problem of the United States and more of a problem of these other countries. If maybe these countries have to get their stuff together and provide a better life for their citizens. Everybody wants to come to the United States. We can't handle them all. Maybe it's our responsibility to tell these countries, hey, own up to some of this responsibility. A lot of this is due to the terrible nature of a lot of these countries and society around the world, and tell them to get their shit together. And because it's unacceptable to have all these citizens running away from the country due to their terrible lifestyle, we can't afford to just take in every fucking every person.
It's okay. This is not CNN. We can use certain words.
You're right. You're right.
And what I love about this clip is that Joe Biden says, "I'm such a nice guy."
Yeah, like,
he calls himself a nice guy.
You are the nicest guy. You're the nicest guy, Joe.
Coming to this country and entrusting you with unaccompanied minors.
Well, look, I guess I should be flattered. People are coming because I'm the nice guy. That's the reason why it's happening. If an unaccompanied child ends up at the border, we're just going to let him starve to death and stay on the other side. No previous administration did that either, except Trump.
So what I'm getting out of this clip is that he said, if an unaccompanied minor comes to this country, we're going to let them starve to death and stay on the other side. Then he brags about how no other administration has done this besides Trump. So first of all, I think he misspoke there. I think he meant to say, we will not let them stay on the other side and starve to death. The second thing is that Trump didn't let kids starve to death.
On the other side, a ridiculous narrative.
Where did he get that from?
In some type of border security, you don't care about these people's lives. Like, I don't know if you see the videos of the people at the border. They're getting fed. They're getting helped across the river. They're not being turned away. Even the people committing the crime of helping these people, of basically people paying their way to get to the border, the people who are helping them get across the border, they're not getting arrested. They let them go. They're helping the people up from the rivers, and they're getting them in an organized line and then sending them off wherever they send them off to.
And
no one's getting abused and no one's starving. No one's anything. They're treating them honestly better than they are U.S. citizens.
No previous administration did that either, except Trump.
So do you believe it should take 60 votes to end a filibuster on legislation or 51?
It's not my expertise in what the parliamentary rules on how to get there are, but our preoccupation with the filibuster is totally legitimate, but in the meantime, we got a lot we can do while we're talking about what we're going to do about the filibuster.
See, this is the thing with Democrats. They always say there's a lot of stuff we need to do. Like, this reminds me of the clip of Kamala. What he said just made no sense. There's a lot of stuff we need to do about talking about what we need to do about what we're doing now.
Very vague.
We can go back and see what exactly he said, but it sounded like a bunch of mumbo jumbo. They always say we need to start thinking about how we're going to talk about this problem. They don't actually have any substance, and this was clearly him trying to not answer the question because he knows that Democrats are on both sides when it comes to the filibuster issue. 50% of the Democrats basically want the filibuster to stay, and then the other 50%, the radical left, want to get rid of it, while all Republicans want to keep the filibuster. So he knows that people will react negatively no matter what he says, and especially since his base is split right down the middle.
While we're talking about what we're going to do about the filibuster.
Regarding the filibuster, at John Lewis's funeral, President Barack Obama said he believed the filibuster was a relic of the Jim Crow era. Do you agree?
Yes.
If not, why not abolish it if it's a relic of the Jim Crow era?
Let's figure out how we can get this done and move in the direction of significantly changing the abuse of even the filibuster rule first.
It sounds like you're moving closer to eliminating the filibuster. Is that correct?
I answered your question.
So he says, let's look at how we can get this done. But he never answered the question. He never took a position. Okay, he just said, listen, this is how we can get this done. Let's talk about how we can get this done. But he doesn't clarify which side of the debate he's on.
He likes to talk about the evil Jim Crow filibuster. Like they didn't just use it a few months ago. Like they're acting like
and I think it's because of that quote where Obama said that it's a relic of the Jim Crow era. He knew that he ran with Obama, and he has to
go along with it.
He has to agree with it, because if he disagrees with it, then he looks like a complete bumbleclot.
Right, not like he doesn't already.
I want to go back to voting rights. Are you worried that if you don't manage to pass voting rights legislation, that your party is going to lose seats and possibly lose control of the House and the Senate in 2022?
What I'm worried about is how un-American this whole initiative is. It's sick. It's sick. And so I'm convinced that we'll be able to stop this because it is the most pernicious thing. This makes Jim Crow look like Jim Eagle.
Have you?
Wait. So, is he saying his voting rights initiative, the one that he and his White House administration is creating, is he saying that he's sick of it? About that initiative? His own initiative?
I don't think you can tell half the time.
What is he talking about?
I don't
What
know.
initiative is he so against?
Are they talking about the initiative of keeping the filibuster? Is that an initiative now? To keep something that already is in law?
I think he's talking about his voting rights bill.
He very well could be. Look at his face right now.
That's what the question was about.
What a fucking idiot.
Did you just pull a Joe?
What?
You forgot the question that was asked of you literally 2 seconds ago.
No, I didn't.
It was about voting rights, not about the filibuster.
I thought you were talking about filibuster. That was, to be honest, I was paying attention like Joe.
Yeah, he pulled a Joe Biden. Do you know what Jim Eagle is?
Probably a new jeans brand.
Jim Eagle.
Jim Eagle probably got Brett Favre in the commercial.
Brett Favre with these knockoff
Got an
Levi's.
icy hot patch on his right arm,
And he's comparing voting rights in 2021. This was in 2021. He's comparing voting rights in 2021 to Jim Crow. And he's saying that voting rights nowadays makes Jim Crow look like Jim Eagle, which I'm assuming is something not as important or not as bad as Jim Crow.
he just admitted that this is not as bad as Jim Crow. He said it made Jim Crow look like Jim Eagle. Eagles are usually seen as being more magnificent, more more awesome. And he just made the Jim Crow. This doesn't make any sense. He just admitted that Jim Crow is a big deal as being Jim Eagle, and that this is below it.
No.
That is what he said.
No, I think what he's saying here is that Jim Eagle is something, because I think he's trying to talk about how voting rights nowadays, we don't have them. Even though the Democrats can't produce one living person who is a citizen of this country and is allowed to vote, who couldn't vote. Except for you, because your ballot got lost in the mail.
Damn you, Joe Biden.
But he's saying that voting rights nowadays don't exist, basically. And he's trying to say that this situation is so bad that it makes Jim Crow look like something less than what it was. It makes Jim Crow look like nothing compared to how bad voting rights are nowadays, which is complete bullcrap.
And I would love for Joe Biden to answer, show me one specific voting law or even show me a general voting law that is racist in any manner. I don't think you could.
Oh, no, I could. I can name one right now.
Okay, let's hear it.
You require, I get this, a card which has your name on it.
Oh no! Oh God! You know who doesn't have that? Minorities. You know who don't have IDs? Minorities. You know who doesn't have access to a DMV? Minorities. You know who doesn't have access to driver's license? Minorities. All these racist.
And get this. Do you know what voter ID is? Do you have a voter ID card?
I don't have a voter ID card.
Are you still allowed to vote?
Absolutely.
Do you know why?
Why?
There's really no such thing as a voter ID. What it's really called is a driver's license, a photo identification card, a high school ID, a passport, which every American should have. And guess what? These documents can even be expired.
They just need some type of proof of proof that you're real.
Yeah. They need proof that you're a living being and you're not voting for your dead grandma.
You decided whether you are going to run for re-election in 2024. You haven't set up a re-election campaign yet, as your predecessor had by this time.
My predecessor needed to. My predecessor. Oh, God, I miss him. No, the answer is yes. My plan is to run for re-election. That's my expectation.
My predecessor had to.
I miss him. Well, guess what, Joe? We miss him too.
We miss him too. That's one thing we can agree on.
We both, or all three of us, can agree with, or both of us can agree with Joe Biden.
We miss him.
Yeah, we miss his predecessor.
We miss his predecessor.
And he's saying, by this time, my predecessor already started his next term's election campaign, but I don't need to. Well, Joe, if we look at your approval numbers, what is it, 34%, 39%? Lowest approval rating for, I think, any president. Is it any president?
It was any president ever, 33%.
Really? Is it any
It is as low as 33%. It's the lowest out of any presidency ever. The only president to have a lower rating was George Bush, and that was literally the week after 9/11. So he's doing a horrendous job, and there is a reason why he doesn't have to worry about his election, his team, his campaign for next year. It's because, trust me, he's not running. He's got nothing to run on. They're not going to let him. He's going to lose.
Yeah, I think he does need to be worried about the next election cycle, because the Democrats are just going to leave him in the dust. They're all just going to ditch him.
But folks, I'm going. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Look at him. He forgot his mask.
Look at that stroll. Look at that stroll. Look at him not turn around as everyone's asking him questions. Not even the slightest interest of answering a single question.
Whenever Donald Trump walked away, he would either storm out, as in, like, I don't give a fuck about you guys, or he would be waving to the people that are cheering him on. Joe Biden just walks out, just staring at the door.
He's a robot. They tell him to go, he goes. They tell him to sit down, he sits down. They tell him to talk, he talks.